Greetings, Minecrafters! Nonsanity here, and welcome to episode 14 of my Primus Daybreaker series. Today, based on some of your comments, we're going to do a little bit of OpenComputers work, just a little bit to get started, show how I used it here. But first, a little bit of something I recorded earlier, so take it away, past me. Thank you, future me. So, I need to add some extra ports onto this reactor to get the power out. As you can see, I've already laid out some of the universal cable here and added some ports on the induction unit. But they're not attached because these are just regular glass blocks. So I've got to break it and place these reactor ports in, which is going to stop the reaction. So hopefully it doesn't explode or something. Okay, it just stopped. Good, because there's no real way to stop it, I guess. Well, maybe if I set the injection rate to 0. Maybe I should have done that just for safety purposes, but this worked. Alright, so that is now fully hooked up. Now we need to start it back up again. So that's what I wanted to record, was to show the startup procedure again. I got some whole rooms here that are full, which, again, you just toss them in here, right there, and it'll fill up with this DT fuel. In fact, I can replace it with a new one like this. Toss it in, it is full. And I'll save that one for next time. Alright, run up here and pop it in. Oh, it started right back up again. I guess it was hot enough. Yep, it was hot enough to restart this. Nice, I didn't have to use the lasers. Well, if I did have to use the lasers, I just would have pulled this lever, and this thing would have fired in and heated it up. Which, it's almost full, but I've used these fields to set it, to put out only 400. I think that's enough. But I was about to find out. Now I won't find out because it was already still cooling off. Now it's heating back up again. Yeah, I noticed this was full, which meant that my 2 cables weren't enough to get all the power out. So let's see how we're doing now. This one looks full. That one over there, or can I get that one over there? That one over there is not full. This one not used. Ah, come on. And the one at the bottom not used. Strange. I guess because it's still heating up. Yeah, this is starting to fill up. Soon it should be full, and one of the top or the bottom should be used as well. And I'll decorate them as I did the others here eventually. But yeah, this was because I have turned this thing up quite a bit. It is now running at an injection rate of 9. I've got my tool here to make sure everything is actually keeping up at that rate. This sucker has been doing great. It has been doing wonderfully. How many we got here? Another 22. When I get a stack and a half, I'm ready to expand this thing because, well, it doesn't look that much bigger. If I break the floor here, it goes down quite a ways. That is maximum height. That is 18 tall. Though for a while I had it, I wasn't counting, and I just kept making it longer, and it was at 22 and it was still working. So maybe 18 by 18 by 18 isn't the max. Or maybe that's just the maximum number of units can be contained within it. And it could be a different shape, but the same number of blocks on the inside. That could be it. In which case I could make it really, really, really tall. And if it comes out evenly, that would work. But I'm going to expand it outwards now that it's maximum height. So yeah, there are 400 blocks inside. 480 blocks inside. And one of them is a provider. I actually had a hole in there and it was still working. So I looked at this and it was 478 and 1. Thankfully I dug straight to where the problem was accidentally. So yeah, we're not filling up. We're not nearly as full because I've expanded it so much, though it's got plenty of power in it. It's got 9 trillion in it, but can hold almost 100 trillion. RF. I'm rounding up by 2 trillion. I like that. 2 trillion, I'm just rounding it off the nearest 2 trillion. Yeah, almost 100 trillion RF. Pretty sweet. And it's coming in at 18 million RF per second. I had it up to 20 million RF per second. I had the injection rate set to 10. And my production could handle it as far as I could see. Like, this isn't going down, which means the heavy water is keeping this line saturated. And this isn't going down, which means the oxygen coming in from these guys, the oxygen is being produced. The deuterium is not going down. So this line is staying full. And this is not going down because these guys are keeping up. And I can check this pipe too, and it's needed 0, and check that pipe over there, and it's needed 0. This one also needed 0, so start tracing it to make sure it's good. That's staying constant. That's staying constant. This pipe 0. Head into the desert age. And the reason why it's all keeping up is I've added, I think since the last time you saw it, 4 more towers. So there are a total of 8 towers producing brine, and this 1 tower converting the brine to lithium, and it's always empty. So it's keeping up with 8 input towers. Now if we look here, this is going up. So I've got positive lithium production, which means at every stage along here it should be completely full. This should be full. It is. This line's full. It is. This line is full. And all of these should also be completely full. And that's with my induction cell machine sucking from this ender tank. Sort of it's siphoning off some of the lithium. If I turn the reactor up to 10, this bucket doesn't go up, but it doesn't go down either. It stays completely constant. I see here I put the value it was at the time. It's above that now. It was sitting at that value and it wasn't changing. So I went and I forced my induction system to suck some of it out, and came back and looked, and it had gone down. Which meant when my system is not sucking lithium, this many towers is enough to keep the reactor running at speed 10 perfectly. And again, I still don't need this many of these, but I just have lots of extras for their overkill. And so I don't have to build. They're annoying to build, so now I don't have to build them for quite some time as I expand this system if I need to, if I want to. So I've got a surplus of brine, which is fine because, well, I'm using it to make the induction cells. Once I'm done with all the induction cells and I can turn this off, I can set the reactor up to 10 and this won't go up or down. It'll be a completely stable system. I like that. So let's head on back. I don't think there's anything else to check. It's 18 million RF per second. Yep, I think we're good. Oh yeah, check these now. It looks like 3 of them are lit up. So that one is completely full, this one is completely full, and this one is still getting used more, which means the heat's probably still going up a little bit. Let's see. Very, very slowly. It's getting close to its stopping point. As it gets closer and closer to its target temperature, it will slow down. So it looks like its target temperature is probably 600, since it's very close to that and heading that way. It says the max plasma temp is 675, so I may be getting very close to the limit. I think if I set it to 10, it goes over this. I don't know if that's a problem or not, but we'll keep it at 9 for now. And like I said, this thing has been doing good. I have plenty of EMC in these things. I have 472 million there, 684 million there, 322 million there. Ooh, this one's almost out. Alright, let's give it... Oh, it doesn't need half a stack of octuple. Let's just give it a quarter stack of octuple. That's more than enough. How can I be so liberal with the octuples? Well, the golden age... There we go. I've set up the quarry 3 times at that 128 by 128-ish. I wasn't as exact on the second and third cycles. This is on the third cycle, so it's still gathering up gold blocks and dumping them in here. And this thing is completely full with 8 stacks. This thing has got 7 and a little bit stacks, and I had 4 stacks on me. So yeah, that's getting me lots of EMC. And I don't consider it as much cheating, because most of what I'm using that EMC for is gold, which, you know, I could just feed this straight down to my factory and it would be almost exactly the same. Just a little bit more convenient to package it up into a compact form. And it does let me fill up the other things like the steel and iron and redstone. But, you know, like everything with the equivalent exchange, I could do it another way. I can make an iron age and a steel age and a redstone age using RF tools. That's all. I can do it the same as I did with the gold. I'm mostly using gold. Gold is the heaviest abused of these things. And why is nothing running? Every time I start recording, things stop. That looks ready to go, but that is full. This one is ready to go, but that is full. This one is ready to go, but that is full. So this one is waiting on an ultimate energy cube. They're not here. They are waiting on diamonds. Oh, my manual diamond dump is out. That explains why it stopped. It must have just stopped because it was running a few minutes ago before I started recording. So I can also make a diamond age. Let's see, how much do I want? You know, let's get a lot. Sometimes when you ask for a whole inventory, it tends to crash. So there, we'll do it that way. You know, I need a bigger chest there. Let's get one of these alchemicals. Whoa, it's crap. Oh, they're getting charged, damn it. That was a mess. I should not have broken that chest. Okay, temporary. Clean this. So which of these has storage? That one does. That one does. Hopefully that one. Because I don't think it'll use those properly. 0, 0, 0, 0. So just these 3 have some power in them. Run over and drain them. Okay, empty, empty, empty. All right. Yeah, when I broke that, I lost my multi, so I got to make a new multi. Anyway, I'll fix this. You've seen that me do that, and it'll get this going again once it gets some diamonds. And I'll be back for the rest of the episode in a bit. Take it away, future me. Thank you, past me. All right, so for computer craft, excuse me, not ComputerCraft. I'm so used to saying that because ComputerCraft has been around for a very long time. OpenComputer is a little bit newer, and I really haven't used it before this. But I've crafted. It's been sitting right here on the floor. We've been walking past it for episodes now. But let's look at the recipes. I'm not going to show you the crafting because if you have any NEI, you can figure this out. I mean, most of this stuff is either vanilla or it's some of its components, like this microchip, which has a recipe of vanilla and a transistor, and the transistor is, vanilla stuff there. This thing is slightly different, the printed circuit. You do have to smelt a thing, and that's the raw circuit board, which is vanilla. So, and then it's got lots of other pieces. Now, when it comes to the floppy disk and the EEPROM, if you look in OpenComputers, you'll see there's a bunch of different disks. They all have the same recipe. So you can't actually craft these different disks. And each one, as you can see, it has, this was Maze, this is OpenOS, this is the one that I've got in my inventory right now. This is OPPM, this is Build, this is OpenLoader, Dig, IRC, Network. There's a whole bunch of pre-made programs, or in this case, the operating system. You can't craft those, but if you do any of the recipes to make a disk, you get this black blank one, which I don't even see in here, but that's what you get. To get the OpenOS, what you need, craft the OpenComputers manual, which is a book with a microchip, which is another one of those transistors. So craft the book, and then craft the book with the disk. So put the disk and the book in your crafting slot and in the crafting table, and you'll get this OpenOS floppy disk. And likewise, the EEPROM here, there's a blank version and the Lua. And again, they have the same recipe. If you make the recipe, you're just going to get the blank EEPROM. I think in maybe the next version, you can craft it with the book to get it to be the Lua BIOS. Yeah, that is what you want to do. It's in this version too. That is what you do. One thing to note, do not use the EEPROM in a computer until you have mixed with the book. Because once it's been placed in a computer, it cannot be changed. It cannot be crafted. So take the blank one, craft it with the book, then you get the BIOS. So what you're going to need, you're going to need a computer case. Now I'm doing everything tier 3 here because I have lots of materials. And probably by the time you get to doing this, you're probably going to have lots of materials too. So I'm just going to, for now, go with tier 3. The tier 1 and tier 2 are just cheaper. But tier 3 gives you the most bang for your buck. So we're going with that. We need a computer case. You probably want a screen. You definitely need a keyboard. Some sort of power source. I'm using an RF exciter here. You want the floppy disk with the OpenOS, so floppy disk craft with the book. You want a hard drive, memory, a CPU, a graphics card, and the EEPROM with the Lua BIOS crafted into it. So I still have my interface off from the opening. So put down your computer case. Lots of slots in here. A little confusing, but if you notice, as I move my cursor around, both in my inventory and in NEI, it's lighting up to show you what can go in that slot. Also, you can shift-click. So if I shift-click the floppy, it pops into the floppy slot. Hard drive goes in the hard drive slot. CPU goes in the CPU slot. Memory goes into a memory slot. And the graphics card goes into the graphics card slot. Same with this. That goes over here. This gets you everything you need to start with a computer. Some of the stuff you don't have to have necessarily, but for the way we're going to use it, yeah, you want it all. So now I'm going to place a monitor on top, and you want to put a keyboard. It can be on the block directly in front of it. Like, let me grab a block here. Give me some cobble. So there's... Alright, so there's cobble here, or any sort of surface. You can put the keyboard right there in front of the monitor, as you would with a normal computer. But it doesn't have to be in that spot. You'll often find just people sticking it on the side. You don't click on that to do anything. It looks like it just automatically does the same thing as clicking on the monitor. So it can even be on the back. It just has to be somewhere around the monitor. Now I'm going to put the power on. I'll just stick it on the same side here. Alright, so what's happening? Nothing. You have to turn it on. Turn it on. And now if I right click on here, I can see I've got my screen. And it's a nice big screen because I am using a Tier 3 graphics card. This gives you the largest resolution. It also gives you color. Resolution. If I type that, it tells me my resolution 160 characters across and 50 characters vertically. And you can type resolution space 120 space 40 and it'll make it smaller. You can set that to whatever size you want. What I'm not going to go into teaching is like the Linux commands, Unix commands that let you list things, let you see what's on the drive, lets you move files around. You sort of have to be able to know that before you start messing with OpenComputer and even Computercraft. There are a number of places on the internet that you can go and learn some basic Linux stuff, and that will mostly work here. Just the really basic stuff. The main thing you'll be doing with OpenComputers is edit. Now I'm going to make a new file, call it new file. And there, we're in a text editor. So now I can type stuff in here, use my arrow keys to move around, use the mouse to jump the cursor around. And when you want to finish, down here at the bottom it says save, Control S, close, Control W, find, Control F. So if we want to Control S save, it says it was written. Does that go back to the hint? Probably doesn't. But remember, Control W is closed, so now that we've saved it, Control W, and we're back out to the prompt. ls lists all the stuff in the local area, and there is a new file. Now, I just called it new file, but really, it should be newfile.lua. It doesn't have to have the ending, but that does make it easier to understand what that file is. So I'm going to use the move, and I'm just going to type in the first character, and I'm going to hit tab. Ah, see? Tab auto-completes words. Very handy. So move new file to new file, hit tab again, .lua. And now if we do an ls, it's now new file lua, and it's green, letting me know that it's an executable. Now it won't work because if I type n tab and hit return, it says, oh, it doesn't know what that was because I put garbage in there. But if I type more init and hit tab, there is a program that came with it. I'm not sure what that does. It's doing a bunch of things here. Use the arrow keys to look down. Okay, this looks like this is the initializer. So let's Control W to get out. Control W to get out. Oh, this isn't the editor. This is more, so Q to quit that. So if we just type init and run, doesn't like it. Alright, well, it's okay. We don't need it. Let's edit new file. Now notice I'm not, when I ran the new file, it didn't put the .lua. You don't need it when you're running it, but when you edit, it does want that ending. So let's just do print hello world. Classic program, first one, Control S, Control W. New file, hit return. Hello world. There we go. You have a program. Very exciting. I'm also not going to teach Lua. That is the language that's being used here. Again, there are lots of places online to go and learn about that. But to show you a program, let's go over to my monitor. This thing right here, which if I right-click, you can see that the screen size is much smaller when it's being displayed. But when I right-click, or when I left-click on the screen, it goes back to full size. I wrote that into my program. So let's edit autorun. Autorun.lua. Let's actually, get out of that command and first do an ls. Here I've got autorun.lua at the top level. Anything with that name at the top level will get run when the computer is first turned on. So if I get back here to where the computer is, and I turn it off, and I turn it back on again, you can see it boots, and then it automatically runs my program. So autorun.lua will automatically start. But let's look at it. Edit autorun.lua. Because not everybody wants a line-by-line, what does this program do sort of episode, I am going to separate the following out into a separate video. It will be unlisted, so it's not part of my channel, but you can get to it by clicking the screen here, right now, or by clicking the link in the description below, maybe after you've watched the rest of this episode. Or if you're curious as to what this program is and how it works. You'll definitely want to have a high-definition playback on something like larger than a cell phone so you can read the text clearly. But I'm not going to keep it on the episode because it's about a half an hour long of going through this program line by line explaining how it works. If you're interested in that, go for it. If not, we'll continue on right now. Let's build a robot, maybe. Alright, to make a robot, we need to make the electronics assembler table, which has a recipe that's all vanilla except for one microchip and one printed circuit. And the microchip is like that. So, pretty simple. It looks like it's getting power through the computer. I stuck it down here, and the power is coming in this. And this has power. It charged up. So, it looks like the computers conduct power, which is nice to know. Inside, and I left this in there, this is what you see. A circuit board image, an empty space, and an insert a base part. Now, I think for a robot you need a case. So I'm putting in a tier 3 case, which should give me the most room for adding things. And the first part looks very familiar. It's very similar to the inside of a computer, except it doesn't have a disk drive spot. And we want to put in a graphics card, a CPU, well, let's say graphics card of tier 1 is all I'm doing. A tier 3 CPU. I've got an EEPROM that I've already crafted with a book, so it's got the Lua BIOS on it. Memory tier 1.5. And a tier 2 hard drive. Now, why am I not doing all tier 3? Well, when I first started doing this, I did. But the problem is this complexity. These things use up these complexity points. And I wanted to try giving it a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't know what this turtle with this robot is going to do, so I wanted it so that it can do everything. So I wanted to have a tier 3 battery, and that adds some complexity, and a tier 3 database upgrade, that adds complexity. Tier 1 screen, which is, I think, all it can handle. Yeah, if you look up over there, only the tier 1 screen is lit up. If I hover over the slot 3 here, I got a keyboard and a tier 1 monitor. So only the tier 1. I'm putting in the tier 3 because that was free. Inventory controller, crafting upgrade, and hover upgrade. These are the tier 2 items. These two are tier 3. These are tier 2. And then some tier 1 items, and the screen is also tier 1. And I just stuck it up there. So you need a monitor and a keyboard if you want to actually interact with your robot. This hover upgrade lets it move above the ground. It looks like robots have to sit on the ground or along a wall. They can't be free floating in the middle of the air. But the hover upgrades There's two of them. Tier 1 lets it go 64 blocks, and the Tier 2, 256. And I thought that might be a good idea to add that. You know, actually, I want to give it the navigation upgrade. So let's make one of those. Let's see. What do we need for that? Compass, a map, 2 microchips, gold, water bottle. Alright, let me grab that stuff. Alright, I've got all the parts, but I'm not going to craft it yet because this is an empty map. And according to the documentations for this, the position is relative to the center of the map that was used to craft this upgrade. So we need to give this a right click. And hopefully we're fairly centered in my chunk. Looks like we're pretty good. Let's go outside and fly. Looks like along the mountain range. Oh, nope, that was right along the bottom there. Oh, that sort of sucks that we're... Let's make it a larger map. This is a pretty small area. That's easy enough to do. I really need to do something about the outside of my base. Still haven't decided what to do there. I welcome any suggestions, but something industrial, factory. Alright, so I need more paper. Paper, 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 paper. I know I had a lot of paper. Where'd it go? Did I put it back in the wrong section? I think I might have done that. I did. Along with everything else I had on me. And the iron. I think that was it. Alright. So put those away. Alright, so let's craft up, let's take that out. Craft this to a larger map. See how that looks. That's looking better. Looks like it has all of my base on it now. Let's fill it in. So this seems to be about the lower boundary. That's good. That's none of my bases out there. We're past that, which is the back boundary. Alright, so good. Looks like the entire base is on this map. I almost never use these because we've got the nicer modded map up at the top there. But I can't remember the last time I used a regular map. I mean, I've used Twilight Forest's map because you need that to find the interesting places in Twilight Forest. There we go. Alright, so let's craft this up now. We should be able to... go to my crafting. Craft it. No, it doesn't like the map. That's okay. Toss these together. Oh, maybe it does want a blank map for the crafting, and then you craft it with the map. Okay. That makes some sense. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 1 piece of redstone and 4 pieces of iron. So I'll make a blank map. So you do craft it with a blank map. And then you craft this with this. There we go. Doesn't say in it, but it should have the information we want in it. So, wow, that's true. Where we put it now. I guess I don't need the fluid. Oh, is that a tier 2? Oh, it is tier 2. Oh. Alright, well, we have these. Upgrade container. It says the container upgrade allows dynamically installing and removing another upgrade from an assembled device. So if I put these in there, hopefully that'll give me an extra slot to put this. So we'll give it a try. Alright, so everything's in there. Complexity is maxed out. Hopefully these extra slots don't add to the complexity. Let's hit assemble. And this is going to take 6 minutes. I'll be back in 6 minutes. Well, time's up. Let's see what we got. A Lord Focus. Okay. Comes with a name. Pop this little guy down here. It's got a crafting table and a chest on it. Lord Focus, huh? There he is. Looks like he got a little bit of energy. Maybe when I was holding him. No, that was just from his crafting. Alright, so I should be able to put this in here. Looks like it's a 2 or 3. So good. I can add that to him after the fact. This is his tool slot for if he's using a tool. These are the upgrades, and this is his inventory, which I think if we give him an upgrade, we can make it more than just this, but that's good enough for the moment. Turn him on. Nothing. No bootable medium found. I wonder if you put that in the track. Let me make a disk. I'll be right back. Alright, I've got the disk. I'm going to craft it with the manual. That gets me the boot disk. So, where can we put this? Nope, I'll have to figure out how to boot a turtle. Or robot. Oh, I'm going to keep saying turtle and computer craft. Forgive me. Alright, so I've never done a robot before, so let me look this up. I'll be right back. Alright, I think I made a mistake when I made the robot, so I made a disassembler. Recipe like that. Oops. So let's take the robot and put it in here. Hopefully... Oh, it's going to make me wait another 6 minutes to take it apart. Great. I don't see any place for the output, so I'm going to put a chest next to it just in case. It's nothing like doing this stuff blind. I saw when I'm building the robot, it didn't have a place for a floppy disk like I've seen elsewhere. Instead, it had a place for a EEPROM. And I gave it the BIOS, but that doesn't have the OS. So I'm going to take it apart and put it back together again and see what it says. Yeah, because it's got this space for a EEPROM. Maybe I have to put a pre-formatted disk on there. Well, what I can do is I can swap out this disk for the disk in the robot, do the installation here, and then put that disk in. So maybe that'll work. We'll give it a try. Back when this is done. Alright, it looks like it finished, and it didn't put it in the chest. Interestingly enough, it put it back in here in all the right places. I wonder if it just used that as an inventory. We do seem to be missing something. Ah, yes, we're missing one piece. There is a 5% chance, I guess, per piece, that you won't get something back. So I need to recreate that one. Actually, that's green. Well, those are both 2. And that's 3. Oh, so I don't even want the 2, or the 1. I want 2 2s. That's even better. Didn't notice that. Alright, well, let me craft these up, and I'll be right back again. Well, 2 of these brings the complexity too high, so we either have to give up something, like the tank isn't good enough, or downgrade some memory. I guess I'll just leave it the way it was. Put the tier 1 back in. That costs 2. Okay. But I'm going to take this hard drive out. I'm thinking this is the way to go. I'm going to turn this off. Take that out. Put that in, turn it back on. Alright, it's booting up from the BIOS on the EEPROM. Now I'll do install. And say 1. It's now installing the OS from the disk to the hard drive. Copying files over. Reboot now, sure. Rebooting. Okay, looks like it's working. Shut it down, take that out. Put its own back in. I'm going to leave it off for now because it makes a little bit of a noise. Didn't realize that until I shut it down. Now put this drive in. That should now boot properly. It's got the BIOS and it's got a drive that's been initialized. So we can say go. And this is going to take another 6 minutes. So much waiting to get my robot. And a whole bunch of pieces that I don't need. I'll add these to the pile. But I'll keep this because I can stick that in. Alright, well, I'll be back in 6 minutes. Alright, looks like it's done, and we have a robot. Alright, well, let's see if this one will turn on. Adventure Core. Ooh, this is an adventurous one. Will it boot up? Ooh, it's working. What the?
I knew you had it in you. Ah, you players. Digging up your blocks and arranging them in pretty little piles. You think you control your destiny, but you don't even know why you do it. You have no goals, no points, no end game boss to fight. Well, you didn't. But things change.